Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Table Full of Joy. I'm Cheryl. Today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you the recipe that I use to make homemade dog food for our dogs. We have 4 little rescue babies. And so before we get started on their dog food, I want to take a second to introduce you to all 4 of them. They are our pride and joy. We love our little babies so much. This one right here, this is Mr. Pablo. Pablo is our oldest clown, as you can tell with all the gray. He is about 15 or 16 years old. We're not really sure, but he has had a really hard life. We got him about 10 years ago, and he is very spoiled. And that's the reason that we cook homemade dog food for him is because he has some health problems that just the commercial dog food just does not sit well with him. So we try not to do that. But our other little baby, this is Gracie. Grab her so we can show her. This is Grace. She is about, let's see, she'll be 12 this next year. And she is a rescue from, all of them are rescues, by the way. She is a rescue from Southern California. She came from a puppy mill. She'd had several litters of puppies, and she was dropped at a pound. After she'd had her last litter of puppies, they decided they got everything they needed out of her, so they dumped her, and she was going to be euthanized because she has some problems with her back legs. Her hips are bad. Her back legs are bowed, and so she has a hard time walking, jumping, that kind of stuff. And so she is just super quiet. She's just a sweet little girl. But this is Grace. We call her Princess Grace. And she is just the sweetest little thing. Aren't you, BB? You say hi? No, she's not going to make eye contact. And then we have, this is Miss Rose. Come on, sweetheart, turn around. This is Miss Rose. No, I don't need licks. This is Rose. We call her Rosenberg, all kinds of names. We got her not last year, but in 2017, or 2018, excuse me, January of 2018. She's a rescue also from California. She came from the same rescue that we got Gracie from. She had been dumped at a field in California. She'd been abandoned a couple of times. She has a burn on her back where she had been burned with a cigarette. Her right front paw and the ankle part of her paw has been broken and never healed correctly. So she has a paw that kicks out a little bit when she walks. But she is just a sweetheart. She's a big lover. She loves everybody. She is very food driven, and she is a sweetie. But we love her. So we will have had her. Let's see. She will turn 5. No, excuse me. She'll turn 7. We just do the gotcha date because we don't know her birth date. Same with Gracie. We don't know her birth date or Pablo's. So hers will be the day we brought them home, which was in January. And so she will be 7. And then the last one, who is the baby of the family, is this one right here. This is Shasta. She will be 5 years old on Christmas Eve. We know her birthday. She also came from the same rescue that we got Gracie and Rose. Her and Rose came together. We rescued them at the same time. They had bonded with each other at the rescue facility in California. And then when we saw pictures of Shasta, we saw Rose together. And so we decided to just take both of them at the same time. We just couldn't separate them. So that is our 4 little fur babies that we have. And I'm now going to show you the recipe that we use to cook for them. I am not a believer in commercial dog food. I really don't like it. I don't like feeding it to my dogs. I don't even like giving them commercial dog treats. I make all of their own dog biscuits. All of those things, I just am really passionate about doing that, making sure that I'm giving them the best quality food that I can possibly give them. So we're going to get started on some homemade dog food while they finish taking their morning nap. So to get started on our homemade dog food, we have 3 pounds of a really good quality ground beef. I change this recipe up for them quite frequently. So I do ground turkey, I'll do ground chicken, I'll do ground beef. I just kind of mix up the meat a little bit, give them something different every couple times that I make it. We're going to grab our Mix and chop, you've seen me use this a lot. This is what we're going to use. We're just going to break up our ground beef just a little bit. I'm going to get that broke up. Our oven or our stove is preheating. So we're just going to cut some sweet potatoes. I buy organic sweet potatoes. There's 4 of them here. We're going to dice these up into pretty small pieces because they, Pablo, our older one, he has almost no teeth. He's lost most of his teeth over the last few years. And so he really needs to have things in small pieces. Gracie, the one that was rescued from the puppy mill, she has teeth, but she is such a timid eater that if things are too big of a piece for her, she just won't eat them. And so we just try to keep everything pretty small. And considering that Shasta is a small dog, and Rose is a fairly small dog. So I didn't tell you as I was introducing them to you, but Pablo is this is the debate in our house. I think he is a Chihuahua Min Pin mix. My husband thinks that he is a full miniature pinscher. So that is the debate between us. We have some friends that have a dog that is a Chihuahua Min Pin mix, and Pablo looks just like her. So that is my reasoning of thinking that that is what she is. Gracie, the one that came from the puppy mill down in California, actually all 3 of the girls came from California, but Gracie, the one that came from the puppy mill, she is the only purebred out of the bunch. When the people surrendered her to the pound, they did not surrender her papers, which I don't care about that. I could care less about having a paper dog. That just does not matter to me in the slightest. I don't have dogs because they are purebreds. I don't have dogs because they're papered. I have them because I love them and I love having dogs. Tony and I have pretty much always had dogs. The entire 30 years that we've been together, we've almost always had dogs. And this is the first time we've had 4 at one time, and that was kind of an interesting thing to do, is to have 4 little dogs at one shot. But and so then Rosie, who is she's the orangish colored dog that I showed you. She is a Chiweenie, which is a Chihuahua Wiener dog mix, and so she is pretty energetic. That's usually what Chiweenies are, is they're a pretty high energy dog. They love to play. They love to be with their people. They're very loyal dogs. Rosie is a very, very loyal dog. And her favorite time of day is the evenings after my husband gets home, and she gets to snuggle and play with him, and they have a couple of little pinching games that they play together, which is kind of funny. And so she just loves it when Daddy gets home and she gets to go play with him. And then Shasta, we're not quite sure of her breed. I've been contemplating doing the DNA testing on her because I'm curious to know what she has in her. But we are thinking that she is a Chihuahua Terrier of sort. We think she may be a little Jack Russell. She is very high-strung, a very high-strung dog. She has a ton of energy, and that's another reason that was a blessing that we got Rosie with her, because those two keep each other entertained, which is nice because I don't have all the energy that I used to have when I was much younger, and so chasing around a very high energy dog is not something that I can do anymore. After retiring in June because of both of my knees, it's a good thing that she has her sister to play with. So we have 2 older dogs, and then we have the 2 younger dogs, and they are all very, very, very spoiled. We love them to death. They go everywhere with us except for, my husband, he goes to work. I stay at home now, so, but they literally go everywhere with us. They love to ride. They love to go on vacation. They love to be at the beach. They just love to do all the things that we do. So we love them, and we love having them in our family. So The organization that we got Gracie, Rose, and Shasta from is out of McMinnville, Oregon. Renee is a fantastic lady that has the biggest heart of anybody I've seen, and she's constantly trying to find homes for dogs that have been abandoned, that have come from bad home lives, whatever the case may be. And so she is just an amazing lady. I stumbled upon her when we were looking for another dog to be a companion for Pablo when we were preparing to lose our husky. We had a Siberian husky for 7 or 8 years, and she passed away when she was 14. And that was about the time, just before Naya passed away, a couple of years before that, is when I started cooking homemade dog food, because Naya was having some health issues, and we had kind of related that to the dog food. And we have tried, over the years, we have tried so many dog foods that were super expensive, supposed to be high quality, supposed to be all natural ingredients, supposed to be they're supposed to be all these things. And I have never had dogs that were sicker when we were feeding them commercial dog food. Pablo was pretty sick for quite a while. The last batch of dog food that we were buying, he was, we thought we were going to lose him. We really thought we were coming to the end with him, and that was quite a few years ago. And we started him on a diet of home-cooked dog food, and the change in him has been miraculous. It has just been amazing what the difference has been in him in everything. He acts like he's, like I said, he's 15 or 16 years old. We're not positive. We've had him for 10 years, and the people that we got him from were less than honest, and they had told us that he was just still a puppy, that he was barely 2 years old. We took him for his first vet checkup and found out that he was closer to 5 or 6 at that time, and so we've had him for 10. So he could be 15 or 16 years old. We're not really sure. And so just to be able to see him run around and play with Rose and Shasta has just been amazing. And that has just all been since we started cooking homemade dog food for him, and knowing that I know for sure what's in the food that we're feeding him, and it's not something that I don't know where it came from. I try to buy the highest quality ingredients that I possibly can. There are some times when I just don't have a choice with certain vegetables, but I do the best that I can, and at least I know then where the vegetables are coming from. So we have got our ground beef cooking. We've got our sweet potatoes chopped up. We're going to finish our ground beef. We're going to get all of these vegetables put into this, and we're going to get some water put in it, and we are going to get this cooking down. The one thing that I typically put in this is turmeric, and I'm out of turmeric. I thought I had some more in my cupboard, and I don't. So I'm going to get this dog food made, and then I'm probably going to heat it back up after I go to the store this evening and get some turmeric, and I'll put turmeric in their dog food, and then I'll just reheat it again and put the turmeric in it, let that cook in there, and it should be just fine. All right, our ground beef is almost done. You can see that it's looking good. I used my mix and chop that you always see me use when I'm doing ground beef or ground pork, ground chicken, ground turkey, any of the ground meats, because it really gives me a good fine chop on the meat. All right, so you have this all done. We're gonna grab some scissors, and for convenience, I use frozen vegetables. So I have some frozen chopped broccoli. This is full of vitamin K, which is really good for them. So we're going to put our broccoli in here. Make sure we get that all stirred in. I like to add one veggie at a time and get it stirred. Now we're going to add in some frozen chopped spinach. Now spinach is something that is good for them, but it's good for them in moderation. So I don't use the spinach every single time I make their food. They probably get it in their food about once a month. And I make a batch of dog food once a week. So probably every fourth batch will have the chopped spinach in it. I alternate between spinach and kale a lot of times. So we're gonna mix this in here. We have a frozen mixed vegetable. I like this one because it just has carrots, and it has green beans. It does have a little bit of corn in it, which is fine. It's not super corn heavy, and it should be okay. They tend to like it. And then our last thing that we're gonna add is our sweet potatoes. And we have our big cutting board full of diced fresh sweet potatoes. We're gonna give this a stir, and then we're gonna just put water in this. And I try to limit, I know that dogs are supposed to have a little bit of salt, but I try to limit the amount of salt that they get. I don't want them to have a real salty diet. So we are gonna put just a little bit of salt in this, but we're gonna put in just some plain water in here. And this is typically when I would put the turmeric in, which I don't have right now, so I'm gonna have to get some. But we're gonna put in, see, that was 2 cups. Let's add 2 more cups, so it'll be 4 cups of water. All right, that looks good. So 4 cups of water, 3 pounds of ground beef, 4 sweet potatoes, whole, diced up, a bag of mixed veggies, a bag of diced broccoli, and a bag of diced or chopped spinach. And this is the mix. This is what I use for them. This is the base that I use for their food. You can see all the veggies in there, the meat. This is gonna cook down. We let this cook for about an hour on the stove on about medium, roughly. We want our sweet potatoes to get tender and soft. We want the veggies to get finished getting cooked. So we're gonna turn this down to medium. We're gonna put a lid on it. And this is gonna cook for an hour. And this is a batch of food that will last them a little over a week. They get a quarter of a cup twice a day, quarter of a cup in the morning, and a quarter of a cup at dinner time. And they absolutely love it. They absolutely love the homemade food. I have been at friends' house where we've taken our dogs and they've had dog food out, and my dogs typically will walk over, smell it, and walk away. And what should worry you a little bit is if your dog won't eat it, something's wrong. You probably should look at what you're feeding them, because dog food nowadays can be so scary. They are putting so many bad things in the dog food. Not saying that all companies are that way. I'm sure that there are some dog food companies out there that are honest, that are trying their best to put the best quality ingredients in there, and I'm sure that they are. But for me, for my own peace of mind, I'm gonna cook what my dogs eat. Everything that I give to them is gonna be something that I fixed myself, that I have cooked, that I know exactly what I'm putting into it, and I know exactly what they're eating, because they depend on me. They literally have to depend on me for everything. And if I'm not feeding them the best quality food, then I don't feel like I'm doing my job as their mom. And so they are my kids. We don't have kids. These are our kids. And it would be the same thing as feeding my children unhealthy food. I'm not gonna feed my dogs unhealthy food. So we're gonna let this cook for an hour, and then I'll let you guys see what it looks like. And then tonight when we feed them, I'll let you guys experience what it is to feed these 4 little clowns this amazing homemade dog food that they absolutely love so much. So we'll see you guys. Hi friends. So our dog food is ready to go. And as you can see, it doesn't look too bad. My husband will eat it. He's taken bites of it before. So this is gonna be super good. We've just got it put in the bowls here for them. They each get a quarter of a cup. Like I said, this is what they get twice a day for their 2 times a meal that we feed, 2 times a day we feed them. And so we will get this put down. I want you guys to see how they love their food. All right, they are ready to eat. Sit, stay, get.
Good job.
These are good, Rose. And then Gracie. And last but not least, we have Mr. Pablo. Right now we're putting his food on a box like this. He's having some issues with his, I think his throat or something when he eats. So we're putting it up a little high for him. I want to just thank you all so much for joining me in my kitchen today as we made a batch of homemade dog food for our four fur babies that we have. And I was excited that I got to introduce you to all of them. So when you hear me talk about them in future videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you're new around to the channel, please give it a like and a subscribe for me. That really helps me out. I really appreciate you guys all spending time with me in my kitchen, and the support just means so much to me. Have a date, great friends.